Mr. Gordon Parks. You hadn't heard of him. He was born into poverty and segregation in Kansas in 1912. He went on to become one of our most celebrated photographer, writer, musician, and filmmaker of our time. Parks was drawn to photography as a young man when he saw images of migrant workers published in a magazine. After buying a camera at a pawn shop, he taught himself how to use it, and despite his lack of professional training, he found employment with the Farm Security Administration, otherwise known as FSA, which was then chronicling the nation's social conditions. Parks quickly developed a style that would make him one of the most celebrated photographers of his age, allowing him to break the color line in professional photography while creating remarkably expressive images that consistently explored the social and economic impact of racism. Then, when the FSA closed in 1943, Parks became a freelance photographer, balancing work for fashion magazines with his passion for documenting humanitarian issues. In 1948, as you see here, the photo essay on the life of a Harlem gang leader won him widespread acclaim in a position as the first African-American staff photographer and writer for Life magazine, then by far the most prominent photojournalist publication in the world, of course. Parks would remain at Life for about 2 decades, chronicling subjects related to racism and poverty, as well as taking memorable pictures of celebrities and politicians, including Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X, Adam Clayton Powell Jr., and Stokely Carmichael. His most famous images, such as American Gothic, 1942, and Emerging Man, capture the essence of activism and humanitarianism in mid-20th century America and have become iconic images defining their era for later generations to come. So there's a lot I could say about him as I researched him thoroughly this week. One of his most masterful pieces that I wanted to point out is this one here, Emerging Man, or The Invisible Man. Was inspired by Ralph Ellison's book, The Invisible Man, 1952. Ellison's novel explores the quest for identity of an unnamed African-American protagonist who lives alone in an underground room. His invisibility, the result of a society that refuses to acknowledge his existence. Parks' photograph of a figure emerging from a manhole, a poetic fiction created in collaboration with Ellison, powerfully evokes the sense of emotional isolation, for example. So in conclusion, Parks spent much of the three last decades of his life expanding his style. He continued working up until his death in 2006, winning numerous awards, including the National Medal of Arts in 1988, over 50 honorary doctorates. He was also a noted composer and author, and in 1969 became the first African-American to write and direct a Hollywood feature film based on his best-selling novel, The Learning Tree. This was followed in 1971. There's a couple of other his photographs right there. These also can be seen in the National African American Museum. The greatest day of hip hop in history, where all the rappers came together after Biggie and Tupac had been killed. And then following 1971 by his hugely successful motion picture that he directed, Shaft. Y'all know Shaft. He also directed, the music's supposed to be playing right now, Shaft, not just playing. Which was a black exploitation crime film that evolved around a private detective hired by a Harlem mobster to rescue his daughter from the Italian mobsters who had kidnapped her. So the core of his accomplishments, however, remain his photography, the scope, quality, and enduring national significance of which is reflected through the collection of the Gardens Parks Foundation, which is now located in Pleasantville, New York. Very, very, very outstanding photographer that made a large impact on the way we do things now as it relates to a culture. I have a very short film to show you also. Can y'all cue that up? To go along with what I was saying. Amen.
Awaken America at the dawn of the Civil Rights era. He was a master of portraying people from every walk of life. But for years, some of Gordon Parks' most important early work seemed lost. Now a new generation of Americans can see it for themselves.
In the summer of 1956, in the aftermath of the Montgomery bus boycotts, Life magazine sent a photographer to Alabama for an essay on segregation. The man who took these pictures, Gordon Parks, was Life's first black photographer who saw his camera as a weapon.
I see a poor child, distraught mother or something of that sort. It's not important at that particular moment that I express my feelings, but it's important that I let the world know what they are thinking and what they're going through. And so I become an instrument for them. And I think that's what the camera does in that instance. That's why it serves a purpose.
In September of 1956, Life published 26 of Parks' photographs. And while he later exhibited some of the shots, the bulk of Parks' work from that assignment was thought to have been lost until a few years ago.
So this is the archive where all of Gordon Parks' works are kept.
When 6 years after his death, archivists for the Gordon Parks Foundation came upon this.
This is the box.
This is the box right here that the work was in.
It's wrapped in tape.
But inside, says the head of the foundation, Peter W. Kuhnhart Jr., were more than 200 color slides.
And see, if you look in the back here,
Yeah.
Negro and white children
Notice
playing
he said
together.
color
What
slides.
does this one say?
Segregated Dairy Queen.
Mobile, Alabama.
This photograph of this classroom, which is just a black classroom, looks like something that you'd see in the 1800s. To think that this was 1956.
The foundation made prints. The photographs, many never seen before, are now on exhibition at the High Museum in Atlanta and at the foundation's new headquarters in Pleasantville, New York.
So this is Andrea Tanner and her granddaughter looking into a white clothing store. It's sort of the life that she doesn't have. And you know, Gordon really didn't stage these pictures. He would follow them around and sort of just observe what they were doing.
These are just pictures of life as it was happening.
Life as it was happening.
Images from an ordinary day in the segregated South. Children peering through a fence at a forbidden playground.
And this photograph is of the mailman.
This is the mailman.
This is the mailman right here
in the pith helmet.
in the pith helmet. He is reading the mail to this couple because they're illiterate.
A woman and child outside an Alabama movie theater.
This photograph did not appear in Life magazine and turned out to be one of Gordon's most iconic civil rights photographs.
The woman in the picture, Joanne Wilson, went on to become a respected high school teacher of government and economics. In 2013, she was honored at the Gordon Parks Foundation's annual dinner.
I'm so proud of his work.
Joanne Wilson died the following year.
This is France.
In his lifetime, Gordon Parks became one of the world's most acclaimed photographers. He shot the beautiful, the gifted, the powerful, and the poor with equal empathy. As he told Sunday Morning in 1982,
I don't have time to just make pretty pictures. I would think that the stories that I did that touched people, touched lives, and helped lives would be the ones that I'd most want to be remembered by.
That assignment back in 1956 was
Thank you.
particularly challenging because